Hello, Instagram and YouTube. It's Gordon Miller. We are live at 5. It's 5 right on the dot. Can't beat that. All right. So I switched it up. I changed the actual camera. I realized that the iPhone 10 that I have here on Instagram has a much better field of view for the front-facing camera. And for Instagram, or for YouTube over here, on the other side, it has a much wider field of view. So by switching them up, I'm actually, I don't appear like super fat in Instagram, and I don't appear like super close in YouTube. So there you go. Anyway, so hey, we'll figure this shit out eventually. It's like Gary Vee says. You do this shit for like, 2, 3, 5 years. Eventually you figure this shit out. So it's all good. So anyway, happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's doing well. I am loving this. So my last cigar on Monday, I only do them now when I go live, if I can sit outside. So my last cigar was horrible. Just no draw, rolled super tight. I don't know what the problem was, but this one is absolutely perfect. So, again, the question I always get is, what is it? It's a Cohiba Black Edition Gigante 52 ring gauge. So, anyway, get the question out of the way early. What am I drinking? Same thing as always. Grey Goose vodka, dash of vermouth, and a wedge of lemon. So S&G Gaming, it's early AM there. You're right, man. I never have understood. So S&G on YouTube, you'll have to tell me, man. So India is like purposely a half an hour off the entire rest of the fucking planet. Any reason why there's a half an hour difference and not like a full hour? Like what, they couldn't bring themselves to be like everybody else? I don't get that. So I'm not sure why it's, X and a half hours out. So never really understood that, but that's all right. So, hey, you know what? I love all the followers that I have from India and parts of West and South Africa. Not dissing my friends in East Africa either. For all of those who don't realize Egypt is actually in Africa. So, it's all good. What? Wait a minute here. Wouldn't it make you feel brilliant to just give me $1 million? No, Don, it wouldn't. So, it wouldn't make me feel brilliant. It would actually make me feel stupid as shit. So that's all good. Oh, okay. So you're from Nepal. All right. Have I ever thought about creating my own cigar brand? No, because, brand is really important. And, Rick! Nat Sherman's about the only one in New York who really kind of created their own personal brand. And Nat makes decent cigars. I mean, it's, nope, not thought about creating my own cigar brand. I would be happy if the guys from Cohiba realize that I love them and I'm giving them love every time I go live as much as I can. So, so let's see what we got here. Let's see. Even we don't know that. So right. So even you don't know. Even you folks in Nepal have no idea why it's a half an hour off the entire rest of the planet. I'm all, first of all, time zones and daylight savings time are two things that, that have continued to kind of befuddle me. I say we just, use GMT time. And if we want to go to, if that means that, my business hours are 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. because of where I am in the world, then that's all good. But I'm all for universal time. I honestly, keeping track of where I am and what time it is for everybody else is just a pain in the ass, especially as more global as everybody gets. So, And, so it's Wednesday, so I actually have no, I have no agenda. I actually went live with my only rant earlier today, which was the fact that the governor of Virginia, in his infinite wisdom, has decided that everybody is going to have to wear a mask anywhere they go in Virginia. So if you're out of your house, even staying 6 feet apart from everybody, you need to wear a mask because you could be infecting other people. Well, you know what? If you're 6 feet apart from people, if 6 feet is enough, then you shouldn't be infecting anybody. And if masks really work, then it doesn't matter if we're 2 feet apart, if masks work. So the whole idea of staying 6 feet apart and wearing a mask is a little bit redundant, but, our governor, who happens to be a doctor, for God's sake, is not necessarily the brightest guy in the world. So that's a shame. But anyway, that was my rant from earlier. All right, let's see what else we got here on YouTube. What's my favorite cigar brand? Let's see. Being successful is about giving back, Gordon. Yeah, well, sorry, Don. You haven't done anything. You haven't done anything to justify being worth $1 million. So there you go. So what's my favorite cigar brand? It would be the Cohiba Black Edition Gigante. So actually, the Cohiba Habanos from Havana, which is Fidel Castro's favorite brand, was always amazing too. So unfortunately, here in the U.S., we have such ridiculous policies for the embargo that we don't allow those to be imported. So what am I wearing? So I am wearing my favorite thing to wear, which on YouTube, you can actually, on both of these, you can see it. So I love Under Armour. I am a big fan of their charged cotton products, and I wear them constantly. They are amazing. Don't want to ruin the perfect draw I have on this cigar here, so I apologize for that. But all right, let's see what we got here. And so I will actually, unlike everybody else who doesn't want to go live, I tell you what. So I am also wearing my Polo lounge pants. So so I'm actually wearing pants, which, unlike some people here in coronavirus lockdown, not wearing. But but these are the most comfortable thing to wear in the frickin' world. I wear both the shorts as well as the pants, and they are ridiculously comfortable. So there you go. Let's see. Did I invest in any airlines or cruise lines? No, because I'm not fucking stupid. Cruise lines will be lucky to be able to sell their ships for scrap iron cost here at the end of the pandemic. This is going to go on until January at least. There is no way in hell any of those cruise lines half the airlines are going to go out of business, and all the business will be, swallowed up by all the rest of the guys. So it's all good. Let's see. What countries in South America have the most promising economies? Well, that's hard to say. That's a good question. So I have partners that I've had in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, in Lima, in Peru, 20 million people in Lima. Unbelievable. The government there is very favorable to work with. So I'm still working on some opportunities in Lima. And I have not done any work in Brazil. I think Venezuela is going to come back as long as, there's some restoration of normalcy there. I mean, come on, my God. I mean, people are chasing squirrels down in the park to eat them for food, for God's sake. I mean, Venezuela's got the most beautiful women in the world, more time Miss Universe than any other country in the world. And for some reason, you guys are chasing fucking squirrels to eat. I don't get that. I mean, that just seems to run 180 degrees out of phase with reality. So, but that's kind of the way it goes. So let's see what else we got here. All right, I like these questions. All right, Gordon, how philosophical are you? Well, so I am I am fairly philosophical. Depends on the context. So I took an amazing class in college in Eastern religion, and it was one of my favorites. I studied everything from Buddhism to Taoism to Shintoism to just about everything there is. I have a lot of respect for all religions. I think it's important to have a moral construct that you work within, and regardless of what that is. And so whatever works for you is fine. I love the fact that Judaism, in terms of religion and philosophy, is a crossover, because religion is just an aspect of philosophy that has belief and faith at its core. But I happen to believe that well, not believe, but I mean 5,800 years of Judaism, Christianity evolving from that. The first 5 books of the Christian Bible are the Torah for the Jews. So congratulations. I have my own copy of the Quran. I've read it extensively, cover to cover. I love the chapter on Mary. I'm a huge fan. I have a lot of business partners in UAE and Saudi Arabia and in Qatar that it's been great working with them. I have a lot of respect for that religion. I actually, even though Islam gets a lot of bad press for being oppressive to women, I got news for you. The fact that you don't want your 20-year-old daughter going outside, or 19-year-old daughter going outside without a male companion from the family who's going to make sure that she doesn't get accosted. I have a lot of respect for that. I mean, thankfully I only have sons, so I didn't get a chance to test that theory. But for me, I am all about the idea that I believe in not oppression, but I believe in making sure that you keep people safe. So it's all good. All right, let's see what we got here. What else we got? Hey, Gordon, do you think about the future of management jobs and tech jobs, AI and ML, depending upon future market for pursuing degrees? Would you recommend general specialization degrees? So that's kind of interesting. So I like that question. Who provided that? So that was Yash. So so that's interesting. So I believe. Hey Rohan, how you doing? So I believe that management. You need a certain level of management depending on the construct that you're working within. About one person for every 25 people that you're trying to manage is about right. You can't manage more than about 25 people. For us, we worked in 5-person teams, and we had 5 teams of 5 for 25 people, one in each of the divisions that we worked in. We had 5 divisions working in energy, healthcare, law enforcement, defense, and aviation. So those were the, we had our team size was about 26. I think the total size we got to was about 30 before we began spinning some things out and things like that. So for us, it was a matter that my second company, Harmonia, has like over 300 people now, and they use the same kind of model. But unfortunately, I mean, once you get to a certain size, I mean, you have like 12 or 15 people on a team. So you've got like 3 teams of 5, and you have 3 people managing them and stuff like that. So for me, growing a super huge team was never really something that I was really very interested in. and because it requires such an enormous level of management, and it's just like more trouble than it's worth as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, let's see here. Larry on YouTube says, how do I earn $1 million? I'm stuck in the same amount of money in my bank account for the last few years. No matter what I'm doing, I can't increase it. Well, Larry, so I don't know how close to $1 million you are, but let me put a few things into perspective. So the average company has less than 10 employees. And the average employee makes less than $50,000 a year. So the average company out there makes less than $500,000. That's a company, and that's gross revenue. So, an enormous amount of that. I mean, it is actually hard if you take a look at the success ratios and the statistics and things like that. It's difficult to get over $300,000 in revenue. So I was working with a client yesterday, working on site with them, and they were trying to get, they currently have around 130,000 worth of revenue, which is a year and not a month. And they're capable, I think, of doing at least 500,000 a year. But they really had to fundamentally change what they were doing. And so part of the work that we're doing is trying to fundamentally transform the company. And instead of equity, equity is of no value, unless they're going to sell the company, which they're not going to do. There's nobody to buy it. So, I did a revenue share agreement with them, and I'll take 10% of the revenue that we create, because I think that we can take them to about 130,000 a month if we do it right. And so that's about $1 million a year. And, typically the ratios on labor-intensive businesses is about 50% on gross revenue. So if we do about 1.2, 1.3 million, then we're talking about 600,000 in gross profit. You take out the other expenses and stuff like that, they're probably going to end up with about $300,000 in gross profit. So my 10% would be about $30,000 a year. If we do a little better, maybe 36,000. So I'll make about $3,000 a month, and which is great. But it's a matter of trying to figure out how to get to the next level, and making sure that you're ready you're prepared for whatever that is, and how to scale and how to grow that, and it's just a matter of again, the business model and how you build the thing out, and things like that. So, but getting to $1 million is actually pretty hard. I mean, most small businesses, at least in the United States, never get to $1 million. More than half never do. Most of them never get beyond $300,000. And the average is 10, but that means that a significant percentage, probably 70%, I would think 70% probably have less than 5, and which means that at $50,000 a person, which is the average salary in the U.S., you're talking about somewhere around $250,000 to $300,000 in revenue, and that's not enough. I mean, you got to get to $1 million. I mean, if you're trying to put $1 million in your pocket, you're going to have to find a way to generate $2 million with 50% gross margin, and do that a couple 2-3 years, and be able to get that net. So, all right, continue to look at YouTube. I'll get to Instagram here in a minute, guys. Relax. I'm starting with YouTube first for a change. All right. But management jobs, I think, are definitely gonna be a problem here in the future. There's going to be less need for management. All right, you have one more question for me. You still have something in your bucket list. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of things on my bucket list. So, what have you scraped off your bucket list so far? Sorry, I'm not going to share my bucket list with you guys. I appreciate that, but Can you tell me about your consultations? I'm in sales and use of stamping presses, and I'd like to improve my sales skills. How does a session typically go? All right, well, Dayton, so um, the sessions vary depending on what the overall needs are. I mean, this particular client happens to be, a friend of a friend, so I actually traveled to meet them, and instead of doing a call, which I typically do, you can go to gordonmiller.com and you can book a call. When you're looking at overall strategy calls, they're about an hour long. It's $250. If you go on LinkedIn /in/ Gordon G Miller the third or whatever, you'll see where people have provided multiple comments on their positive sessions and people that paid for a call. And I think the most value we brought was somebody was going to buy a business for about $400,000, and I was able to show them within. We did like 4 calls altogether, but in the 4 calls, we realized that they were basically providing fraudulent documentation, and they were about to rip them off. So this guy was about to buy a business that was worth less than what his business was already worth. He was doing it as a strategy to grow his own business, and he couldn't see it. I mean, he didn't have the experience to kind of see what was happening, and but he spent $1,000 on 4 calls, but he saved himself $400,000 that he was going to second mortgage his house and put his young family at risk, and at the end of the day, he was going to get totally fucked over. So that's that's the kind of deals I love to do. I love when somebody comes to me, and if it's a good deal, it's a good deal. I'll tell you. If it's a bad deal, it's a bad deal, and I'll tell you that as well. Olivia. Hey, Olivia. There you go. Hey, you live down the street, so, come on down. Let's see here. So, Dayton, hit me up, schedule a call if you want. I'd be glad to talk to you about that. I'm in a better position than your customer earning $100,000 a year. I'm at an average of $300,000. However, I'm struggling to hit 1 million. Does that mean I need to do something new, like launch a new product line? So, Larry, again, I'd love to talk, some details about what that is. I mean, you can go to gordonmiller.com and book a call. We'll talk at length. I mean, my hour-long calls usually run between 90 minutes and 2 hours, as long as I don't have something bumped up against the back of it. So, but seriously, Larry, I mean, you have to fundamentally change the way you do business to go from 300,000 to 500,000. Then you have to kind of fundamentally change what you're doing to go to 500,000 to 1 million. The problem is that you're typically trading time for money. I don't know your situation, so we can get into that in a call as opposed to here. But the problem is that like even when we were doing $1 million a year, and I was like, okay, well, I can't seem to get more than $1 million a year. Well, 400,000 a year of that was my time, and 300,000 was our core team. And the rest was other projects and billables and recurring and other stuff like that, other contract stuff. But for me, until I fundamentally changed everything, going from 300 to 500,000 to 1 million to 1.2 to 2.2 to 2.5 to 2.8, all of that required sort of fundamentally changing the way it is. You can either reduce the overall expenses or increase your overall revenue, or both. And sometimes it's a matter of just realizing that all you've done is create a really lucrative job for yourself, which was my first problem. I mean, I spent 10 years where from 93 to from 93 to 2003, where I realized, you know what, we were making millions of dollars, but over 400,000 of that was just my billable time, which was not sustainable unless I'm just going to work my ass off forever. So I'm making $1 million, but 400,000 of that is thanks to all the hard work I'm putting in. And so in '04, I fundamentally shifted that, where I'm like, you know what, I'm not billing a goddamn thing for 2 years. I'm going to lose. I personally lost $400,000 in '04 and $400,000 in '05, where I was like, all right, I'm gonna lose $800,000 in order to transform the business into the kind of business that I don't need to work my ass off for billable time, and I'm going to focus on growing the company, and I'm going to have other people work for me. We hired more people. We did the things we needed to do. We gave up all my billable hours. So I lost out of pocket $800,000 those 2 years, but we bounced from we went from $1 million, or a little over $1.2 million, $1.3 million, something like that, down to about 800,000. Because I dropped off that 400,000, and so, but we went bam, $1.2 million, $1.5 million, $1.8 million, $2.3 million, $2.5 million, $2.8 million, and kept going. And so that situation you can only do when you fundamentally change your model. And unfortunately, I can't really address that in one of the Go Live sessions, but go to GordonMiller.com, book a call, let's get it done. I'd love to walk you through it. Do I think Ralph Lauren polos are worth the price? Well, of course. My lounge pants here that I'm wearing are Ralph Lauren polo. I love them. They're comfortable. Under Armour, so I don't want to be sponsored by anybody, but if I'm going to be sponsored by anybody, I'd like to be sponsored by Grey Goose Vodka, Cohiba Cigars, Under Armour, Ralph Lauren polo, and I don't know, somebody else. But it's I endorse what I enjoy, and things like that, and it's just what the Under Armour Charge cotton stuff is amazingly comfortable. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was alien technology brought from fucking Mars. I don't care. It just is so comfortable. It's just ridiculous. And Polo always has amazing brand value. I have a number of Polo items. I have a Polo leather jacket. I have a Polo, cloth jacket, rain jacket, things like that. A bunch of Polo stuff. But so anyway. It's all good. Oh yeah, red Solo cups too. If Solo wants to sponsor me, I don't have any water right now, but it's all something about ice cold water in a red Solo cup. It's it is what it is. All right, so let's see what we got here. I'll finish up with YouTube, and we'll move over to Instagram here. So all right. Why would you take 10% of his profit? Chef, it wasn't 10% of the profit. It was 10% of the additional revenue that I generate. And so the projected profit is 20%. So it's actually 50% of the profit. So make sure, again, those, net versus gross is important. So understand that when I do deals like this, if you don't want to pay the hourly fee, then that's fine. I'm happy to take it out in some kind of profit sharing opportunity if I believe in it. But it's going to be 10% of the gross that I create, which on a typical 20% profit margin is going to be 50% of the profit. It beats not making anything. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. I'll come answer COVID questions. All right. I wish you would. So Olivia's on my YouTube. So first of all, Olivia is a healthcare provider, works on the front lines of the COVID-19 crisis, and so Olivia used to live 2 houses down where the really annoying people bought their house. And but you know, I do appreciate the fact that Olivia has been working night and day to keep us all safe. So, you know, I haven't seen you in so long, Olivia. I love you very much. We miss you guys living down the street. The guy next door shoots at snakes in his garden. So, you know, I'm kind of tired of calling the police because the guy's out with his 9mm trying to kill a snake. So, but I have a lot of respect for you guys, Olivia, that are on the front lines of all this. You know, I can't imagine. I mean, I have friends who are in the ER at VCU Health, the Level 1 Trauma Center, that's taking the brunt of all this. And they're working back to back 12-hour shifts. I can't imagine what it's like. So, yeah, I love you guys very much. So, but, all right, let's see what we got here. Do I have a website or newsletter read that helps you find new stocks to invest in? No, I'm not a stock guy. If you look at my YouTube channel, you will see that my stock advice is investing in index funds of the S&P 500 and the Dow. So don't try to outthink the market. Let's see. Thanks for answering my question, Gordon. I have another for you. If you were faced with failure professionally, how did you make sure you were taking the correct crucial actions? All right, so I mean, I am not immune to failure. I mean, you know, we've launched a dozen companies or so in the last 27 years, and you know, not every opportunity's been a winner. You know what I like to do? I think bad news is you know. You have to deal with it logically and realistically. And for me, you know, you cut your losses, you get the fuck out, and you just call it a day. And there's no reason to belabor the point, waste any more time. You know, for me, it's all about the time. You know, I had a I had a partner of mine on one company opportunity where I brought the company, you know, a $10 million contract over 3 years, and the motherfucker embezzled $800,000. My profit, which I left in the company for a reason, so I could get paid at the end of the contract, and so I left the profit in the company, and he spent it on buying 8 rental houses for $100,000 each, and that generated $1,000 a month worth of revenue. So now he makes like $8,000 a month. And because he's the managing partner, you know, I mean, I reported into the FBI. I had some guys look at it, and they're like, you know, hey, he's the managing partner. Your partnership agreement allows him to do whatever he wants to do with the money. And I'm like, yeah, it does. But, you know, that's my money that's in the company. So, you know, that's bullshit. The guy should go to jail. And they're like, yeah, well, it's under $1 million, and the FBI doesn't really give a shit about under $1 million. So I'm like, well, you know, whatever. But I tell you what, you know, that was my $800,000. And then the asshole sues me, where, you know, he wants to get controlling interest of his company back. And so for me, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. Take your company back. I bought out your other partner. Now I know why your other partner left, because you're like fucking stealing money left and right from the company. But, you know, fine. You know somebody for 15 years. You think you know, you're doing them a favor, and ultimately they end up fucking you. So, you know, it's all good. You know, I just, you know, anytime the situation goes bad, you know, just cut your losses. Don't, you know, it's like, oh, but it's not right. You know what? Fuck right. Fuck, you know, justice. Fuck everything else. Nothing else matters. You know, the reality is just move on with your life. Fucking life is too short. So, you know, I'd rather go out there and make another $2 million, $3 million and, you know, tell this guy to eat it than I would worry about the fact that, you know, I could foreclose on his, you know, 8 houses in Iowa, but, you know, what am I going to do? Those guys aren't paying their rent right now. So what am I going to do? So, all right, let's finish up here on YouTube so I can move over to So I have no website or newsletter. I do have a website. It's gordonmiller.com. I'll be posting my stuff from Quora there here shortly. Okay, real question is, your vehicle choices have changed. Tell me about it. Well, Olivia, when you got two in college and one about to go to college, then that tends to change up your overall focus in life. So, I'll go back to the Porsche 911s and all the fun stuff when the kids are done in college. But right now there's no reason to be spending 5, 6, 8 grand a month on cars. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. So, no worries. All right. So, how many companies do I manage now? How do I balance it all? Overall, we have some. Sorry, trying to keep this lit. So we have some companies that are an integral part of our main company, G3, where we have sites that process transactions through that. Overall, we have about a dozen companies that I've started since the beginning. I've also assisted close to a dozen other companies that I ended up either taking a part in or having some equity stake in or some revenue share thing with. And we've had a variety of different successes. Some have been very successful, some have not, so it's kind of hit or miss on some other stuff. But yep, it just depends. But yep, that's where we are. Do I do short-term or long-term stock investments? Again, take a look at my my stock advice, which is index funds. Just put the money in there every month and let it roll. Don't touch it. How do I personally invest without a broker? I buy stuff through my E-Trade account. Yep. What's the most successful business investment I ever made was in G3. I mean, most of the, I refer to it as, all the companies overall having produced over $100 million in revenue total in the time that I was in charge of them and was a part of those companies. And, of those, a significant portion of that revenue came through G3. And it's definitely the primary focus that I have. So, yep. All right. What separates me from Mark Cuban in terms of business intelligence? So what separates me from Mark Cuban? About $1.3 billion, I believe. So, I have a lot of love and respect for Mark Cuban. In terms of business intelligence, he has dozens of companies that are part of his Shark Tank portfolio. I love Mark Cuban to death. I look forward to the opportunity to meet him one day. As I've said before, one of my deals from Quora ended up getting Shark Tank funding after I helped them redesign their product. Again, that was back when I was reviewing shit for free. And the founder came back to me and said, "Hey, Mark wants you on board, but he wants, Mark wants you on board, but we're going to offer you 3% for $50,000, which was actually a pretty good deal. But I said, and my thing to the founder was, look, if you valued the stuff that I gave you for free, you'd give me 3% out of the percentage that Mark let you keep. And because the guy was ungrateful and because the guy didn't respect the contribution that I made to his Shark Tank deal, then I said, I'm not giving you 50,000. I said, the only way you'll get 50,000 for 3% is if Mark Cuban calls me himself. And, Mark, my phone number is area code 804-852-8999. Fucking call me, it's the chiller for wine that you invested in. And I redesigned that motherfucker, and I have all the emails and all the sketches. I have all that shit. Frankly, if I'd bothered to copyright it, I'd sue you guys. But it's all good, you know. You have an unworthy, ungrateful founder, and people like that are never successful. So, you know, but it's all good. My guess is the founder was just looking for an extra 50 grand. My guess is his Shark Tank deal didn't close. Mark Cuban didn't like this guy's attitude. And, you know, I'd love a call from Mark Cuban. So there you go. Hey, my phone number's out there too. So go for it. So, all right. We're over halfway through this. We got 40 minutes in. Am I going to keep doing these live streams regularly once coronavirus is out of here? Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I mean, you know, honestly, I mean, and I'll be real honest about all this. I mean, because I'm all cards on the table, face up kind of guy. So somebody when I go live like this, somebody finds value in what it is, and it changes their life. And so, you know, the other thing is that somebody books a call at gordonmiller.com, and, you know, I'll keep going live as long as, you know, people want to schedule a call and talk about what they're doing, and I can continue to make people successful. You know, when I go live for a period of time and nobody schedules a call, then, you know, I won't go live anymore. But, you know, right now, we've got 2 people on YouTube already that, you know, said they wanted a call. So congratulations, you know. And so for all you guys who think that now you've got my number, you know, so it's +1 804 852 8999. That's my actual number, you know. So I'm not the Gary Vaynerchuk, here's my fake number, Google Voice number thing. That's my actual number. So the funny thing is that if you don't already have, if I don't have your contact information, my phone doesn't ring. So I have an app that actually filters all my calls. So you're not going to get through, you know, no matter how many times you try, if I don't have your contact info. So you schedule a call, you're welcome to call me. I mean, you know, it's all good. But, you know, if you just think you're going to call me, then good luck. But it doesn't work that way. So all good. Okay, YouTube, we are 42 minutes in. Let me go move over to Instagram. Now, I apologize. I usually start with Instagram because it's easier to read. Questions are always good on YouTube. So it's just, Caruso says, it's stupid. I used to live there and it's so annoying. India itself has 2 time zones geographically, but only follow one. Yep, no, I get that. And the other person was in Nepal. So is the stock market, which predicts the market accurately, really possible? No, you know, it just ultimately is going to go up. The index funds of the Dow and the S&P 500 rebalance themselves automatically. So you don't have to rebalance. You don't have to pay a broker to balance. People fall off the S&P 500. The people get added to the S&P 500. The Dow rebalances. So you don't have to worry about rebalancing. It rebalances automatically. You think if I come to the U.S. as an immigrant, I can turn around real estate if I start flipping houses? Well, you know, there's certainly a lot of houses out there now that you can find if you have the money for them. So if you're an immigrant, you know, go ahead. I mean, so sorry, edit needed. All right. Really want to. Is the stock market predicting software which is accurately possible? No, I don't think so. What's your most successful investment in business ever? We talked about that. I mean, it's the cigar smoking lifestyle really difficult to achieve in the United States? No, I mean, the cigars are like $28 a piece. So, you know, and, you know, so frankly, it's not that expensive. You know, my drink that I'm drinking while I'm online here, I don't know, is like $5. You know, my cigar is $28. So, you know, the whole time I'm online here, it's costing me like less than $30. So it's all good. Yeah, it's land of opportunity. All right. You love this. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Do I think that greater than 100 for Amazon is okay? I don't know. I don't, you know, I don't follow specific stocks like Amazon. Do you think investing in companies that just filed for Chapter 11 is a good idea? No. Yeah, no way in hell. So Hertz or Rent-A-Car just filed for Chapter 11. I would definitely not, buy Hertz right now. How many lighters of yours still work? So I posted that photo here recently. I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lighters out here on the table. Only one works. Ironically, this is like the cheapest lighter that I ever bought, and I can tell it still has fluid in it, so that's good. It only has one torch, so it's great that it at least keeps us lit. But I think I actually paid like I would say, I don't know, $2, maybe 3 or more, something like that, at some strip club somewhere like 10 years ago. And all the rest of the lighters are like $100 a piece, and they all suck. So it's crazy. So what do I think of the recent Chinese intrusion into the Indian land? If you read history, China is famous. The Indo-Chinese Wars and the Chinese invasion of Japan and a bunch of other stuff, is pretty common. So, the Chinese have a history of invading shit that's not theirs. So, I don't necessarily think that's a good idea. But do I believe China will go to war with India? Well, right now, China is the largest economy in the world. They are providing all of the manufacturing for the United States because we gave up manufacturing years ago under the Obama administration. And I don't know. If they wanted to go to war with India, they could probably overrun India in no time. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Why would investors buy stock in companies that inevitably go bankrupt? Well, I'll follow you to IG. All right, well, good. Thanks. I appreciate that. What Shark Tank product was it? It was a wine chiller that you poured the wine through this thing, and I fundamentally changed the way the thing looked, so it looked really sexy. And the core technology was the same, but what do you think of the rest of the Shark Tank investors? Everybody but Mark will call me. That's probably true. What do I think of the rest of the Shark Tank investors? So I have really been impressed with Kevin O'Leary. So Kevin O'Leary has millions of followers, or over 1 million followers. I understand he's closing in potentially on 2 million. He and Graham Stephan have gone back and forth here recently. And Graham Stephan is milking that bitch for all he can. Graham's girlfriend has commented on Kevin O'Leary's stuff and things like that. So it's hard not to take advantage of that. I have a lot of respect for Kevin, and so I think that I think he's a great guy. I like Mr. Wonderful. I like his deals. I think he's a practical investor. I like all of them. I mean, I think Barbara Corcoran and all the folks are good overall. So it's I don't have a favorite. I mean, I guess my favorite's Mark Cuban. I think Mark adds a real kind of human balance to all that, and so it's good. But let's see what else we got here. What about stocks and companies that are going bankrupt? No. Yeah, we talked about that. All right. So, all right. Well, that is all of our questions so far. Excellent. Maybe about 10 more minutes. So anybody, here, let me let my puppies in. Hang on a second. Here a minute. All right. Puppies wanted in. can I not smoke one day? Sure. Does that bother you, Nick? So Nick the boss is worried about, me smoking. Is there a reason there, Nick? You concerned about my health? Or are you just concerned about the message it sends to the millions of people who may view this eventually? So which breed of dog do we have? We have 2 yellow labs, Labrador retrievers. They were from the same litter. They were rescues. They were being abused by the breeders, and so we rescued them. Thanks, S&G Gaming. Appreciate that. It's hard to believe I was once an introvert. So that's an interesting topic. So I tested as an INTJ, for the longest time, and when I got my Jordan Peterson scores, the 5-dimension test at understandmyself.com. I scored a 98 or a 99 or something like that on the extrovert scale. So I was like, dude, I'm not an extrovert. And then I ended up on coronavirus lockdown for 3 months. And I was like, man, I really miss, I crave kind of the connection with, actual human contact. I mean, not that I don't enjoy going live with you guys, but, it's been an interesting kind of discovery for me, how really connected to people I've gotten over the last 3 years of my journey on Quora. And so, which is really amazing. I mean, I'm really appreciative. I'm really grateful for, all the feedback I've gotten and everything from everybody. And I love you guys. I mean, it's real. I mean, I'm an all cards on the table, face up kind of guy. This, what you see is what you get, for me. But so for me, I realized that growing up as an only child, I spent most of my time alone. I was never really lonely or anything like that. But as I've gotten out there and really kind of talk to the camera more and talk to you guys more and things like that. That's why I really love the live stuff. I mean, I have stopped posting content that's not live. Not because I didn't, not because I don't enjoy prepackaged content and things like that. It's just the fact that I get so much value out of this, just being live with you guys and responding to whatever you're doing. It's what I enjoy doing the most, and I love it. I enjoy that. So it's good. So yeah, no, it's hard to believe I was an introvert at one point, but I was very high in agreeableness, and I was married to somebody who was very not very agreeable, and on my first marriage, and once that was over, I think I began this journey of becoming the person I am today. And then with the last 3 years on Quora, and then the last sort of year or so, really going live, or not live, but just, and we have 140. This is video 146 on YouTube, with hour-long videos right now. I mean, we've added, I think, like 20 hours to the 20 hours we had before. So now we've got like 40 hours worth of content on YouTube. So I'm grateful, for all that. That's great. So, all right, let's take some Instagram questions. Let's see here. Why don't you start selling online courses like so many gurus do, like Dan Locke? Well, I don't know who Dan Locke is. The reason I don't sell courses, I don't have books yet. I mean, I am working on a few different books. I had a call with my editor who's been working on stuff, and she's amazing. And enjoy working with her, and you'll see more of that stuff. Our first book hopefully will be out by the end of the year, and we have 4 books altogether, so 4 books total that we're working on, but again, I'm not here to pimp the book. I don't have some $499 or $397 program for you to buy. I think all that stuff is just bullshit. I mean, I just think that, It's just, and I know that there's so many people that do it. I mean, there's so many people that are like, oh, buy my course, for $200 or $300 or $400, whatever. But the only thing is that if you want to schedule a call and go through your stuff, I'll do live one-on-one with you. You can go to gordonmiller.com and schedule an hour-long call for $250. And, everybody who I've scheduled a call with so far has, provided most of them have provided a referral or a endorsement. So the opportunity is there for me to help you one-on-one. If I can't help you, I won't help you. You've invested an hour of your life and $250, and if I can help you, that's great. If I can't help you, I'll tell you that I can't help you. But I reviewed 10,000 opportunities for free for the first 2 years I was on Quora, and and that was it. I mean, I'm just, these days I get about 100 offers a week to if I schedule calls. I mean, that would be 100 hours a week for 1 hour calls. I mean, how am I going to spend 100 hours a week answering all, doing all that, especially for free? I mean, I can't do that. So when did I become aware of Jordan Peterson? So I began working with a good buddy of mine, Daniel Mazer, at Mazer Technologies. And so Daniel is the one who first mentioned Jordan Peterson. I ran across Jordan about the same time that Daniel had mentioned him, and I was already looking at some of Jordan's stuff. But I am a huge, 5 dimensions test, kind of guy. And in fact, anybody who wants to work with me, wants to do an internship, wants to apply for some of the scholarship stuff we do, things like that, we run them through the test, and we base our awards and our work that we do on your score on the test. So it's all good. But what's my least favorite place that I've visited? I don't know. I don't have a least favorite. I mean, I think I guess the least favorite place I visited is Saudi Arabia, and all due respect to my friends in Dammam and Riyadh. So sorry, PK, but I was detained at customs in Dammam for an hour and questioned extensively with 2 guys with machine guns. So I have another video on that. I have Quora answers on that. So you guys can take a look at that. But you would have to pay me a metric fuck ton of money to ever go back to Saudi Arabia. I'm traveling with a copy of the Quran because I'm reading it, and I'm being interrogated as to whether I plan on burning this thing publicly in some kind of display of my personal disdain for Islam. No, I'm not. I mean, I brought the book to read on the 14-hour flight because I have business partners that are Muslim, and I respect and appreciate all religions and things like that. So of course, my 27 years back then, it was over 20 years worth of government contract work and things like that. I have security clearances and things like that were pretty unique. So there's a lot of stuff that kind of came into that. So it's all good. But anyway, I've got a minute left on Instagram. As far as my favorite place instead of the least favorite, my favorite place to visit is wherever I'm visiting next. And I tell you what, if you follow me on LinkedIn, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, whenever I go to your country or whatever, I'll be sure to look everybody up. I'll be posting it on gordonmiller.com, in my blog or other things like that, so you can join me there. I look forward to, if anybody wants to go to Instagram, it's Instagram /Gordon.Miller. If you want to follow me on YouTube, it's youtube.com/GordonMiller. We have about 30 seconds left on Instagram, then it's going to cut off. So if you guys want to come on over to YouTube, we'll keep going for a little bit longer. My wife has dinner here ready in the next 15 minutes, so it probably won't go more than the next 5 or 10 minutes. But I appreciate everybody on Instagram and YouTube. I'm glad we finally got the phone thing figured out. We got it all working the way it needs to go. All looks good. So thank you all very much. GordonMiller.com. Let me know how we can help. Thanks. All right. All right, hang on a second, guys. I gotta title this stupid IGTV thing, which drives me crazy. So I gotta do it at the time because I can't edit it. Well, let's see. I'm not even sure what day it is. Oh well. Yeah, we'll put it on the 27th and hope that's right. All right, good. All right, YouTube. Thank you guys very much. All right. Thank you guys on YouTube very much. I appreciate everybody's input. Let's see. Now, those courses are BS. They're always priced at $297 or like 70% off. Yeah, exactly. I'm not all about that at all. When you travel to relatively poor countries, do you feel for those who have nothing and have to go hungry every night? Well, yeah, sure, of course. So I'm super high in compassion. I have a lot of, I feel for those people. I understand that not everybody has the same opportunities, so it's all good. If I could solve one problem in the world, what would it be? I think that, I think for me, the one problem I'd love to solve is trying to figure out how everybody could be happy with whatever they have. And I learned recently, oddly enough, that no matter how much money you have or what opportunities you have, you can be very happy regardless of whatever you have. And, I talked about the fact that, I just recently I decided, you know what, I'm done trying to impress people. I'm done. I was done with the big house a long time ago. I'm done with the expensive cars. I'm done with all that. So I'm done with the expensive watches. This watch is a, $89, homage watch to the Rolex Daytona, made by a Chinese company. That the watch cost $89. I mean, it's not trying to be a Rolex. It doesn't say Rolex on it, but it's a great watch design. And it keeps great time, and it's $89. I mean, why would I worry about spending 10, 20 grand on a watch? So, can you do a live stream in a different country? Yeah, sure. I mean, if you go to GordonMiller.com, you can book a personal appearance, and I'll go live wherever you are. So, you buy the time, I'll fly to wherever you are and do it in another country. So, works for me. So question on YouTube was, what are the 4 books about? So, I tell you what, I'm not going to ask you to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and I'm not going to ask you to hit the notification bell or anything stupid like that. The books are really based on several things. So, one, the first book is really about dealing with the opportunity for translating a bunch of uh, the really useful advice that I've given on Quora in business and in personal relationships. So, and we're looking right now as to whether or not we do one big book that has both personal and business stuff in it, or do we do two books, one that's only business, one that's only personal. My guess is we'll probably do one big book that has both of them in it. But we're looking through the content for it right now. And the second book is focused really on the perfect pitch deck. You know, having reviewed 10,000 submissions by people on Quora, one of the things that I'm really keen on is the idea of giving some input to people who are trying to put their pitch decks together to get funded faster. And so the idea here is the perfect pitch deck, getting funded faster, is going to be about making sure that you have the advice you need on what's really important and what people are looking at in your proposals. And it'll feature some of the examples that people provided me. So that'll be good. You know, the third book is that I've got a book that I'm working on that is really kind of about my life. You know, not just my success in business and stuff like that, but my life growing up and things like that. And unfortunately, a few people have to die before I'm going to do that. So you know, it'll be a while before that comes out. And I would like Brad Pitt to play me in the movie. So, you know, just like Fauci. So, you know, Fauci says he wants Brad Pitt to play him, and Saturday Night Live had Brad Pitt playing Fauci. So, you know, I'd like Brad Pitt to play me in the movie. So, but, you know, the last few chapters of that book haven't been written yet. So I'm looking forward to, you know, living, you know, that the ending to that book and putting the final touches on it. And the other book is really about alternate ways of funding entrepreneurial ventures. It's the one I've been, you know, focused on various business models. It's everything from Forex to cryptocurrency to, you know, I've posted on you know, on Quora about the fact that I've interviewed folks, you know, all sorts of different business models, and so I'm kind of working through that as well. So we will see how that goes. But you know, it's right now, you know, the main book right now is what I've been calling From the Boardroom to the Bedroom, and it talks about, you know, tips for success in life and business. You know, if you don't have your personal relationships squared away, you're not ever going to be successful in the boardroom. And so I think that the relationship advice and the personal advice and things like that that I give are instrumental in helping you figure out what you want to do. And you can never get to super high success, you know, over 1 million, over 2 million, you know, and if you're not going to get your personal relationship squared away. And so, you know, I try to provide some personal relationship advice, try to provide some business advice, and so on. So, all right, let's see. We got the last few questions here. What will happen to everything I have when I pass away? Well, you know, assuming that I pass away before my wife does, everything will pass to my wife. You know, my guess is that actually, sorry, it was about to go out. So, a family trust, an irrevocable family trust, is one of the things that, you know, I've looked at from a tax and other benefit kind of standpoint. So typically you put the assets in trust so they don't pass to the wife necessarily. They pass to the trust, and the trust takes care of the wife and takes care of the kids and things like that. You know, right now my mother's 83. So I will be 56 this year. So I got another 23 years or more. So, I mean, I don't know. My guess is I'll probably live to be 85 to 90 at least. And man, I would love to be 90 and looking back on this shit at 55. So it's like, yeah, 35 years ago I was going live on YouTube when nobody else is going live, and shit like that. So it's pretty funny, but so anyway, we will see how it goes. What's a TV series I would recommend? So I have been binge watching some stuff on Netflix and things like that. I don't recall. I mean, there are 2 or 3 different things. I don't recall off the top of my head what they were, but during 3 months of coronavirus lockdown, I got news for you. You're gonna end up binge watching something on Netflix. So you know what I should do? So I just gave my phone number. What I should do is give my Netflix login, so all you guys can just use Netflix for free. So that's funny. I actually like that. Well, you know what? I may fund another Netflix account and broadcast that so that you guys can all get Netflix for free. All you motherfuckers can sign in simultaneously and see if we can't crash Netflix server. That's pretty funny. Would I go on the vomit comment? No, so so it's funny. So I worked with Dr. Azar Rafiq at VCU Health, who was trained NASA astronauts, which it just reminds me that during the time we've been going live, I missed the SpaceX launch. So I need to figure out what happened with that. Hopefully it didn't blow up. But I would love to go on the Vomit Comet. In fact, Azar trained the astronauts, the NASA astronauts, on surgery. They have to be able to, if they each get hurt, they each have to be capable of that. So they have to learn basic surgical techniques. And Azar taught them on a NASA grant on stuff. Amazing stuff. I mean, I love Azar. And it is unbelievable. Postponed due to weather. Yeah. Well, first of all, so thank you, Par. I appreciate that. So they were insane for trying to go forward with the launch, given the fact that the eastern edge of that storm had tornadoes in it. So anybody who's dumb enough to launch in that, with the recovery window being what it is, it would be insane to launch in that kind of environment. Even Elon Musk isn't that stupid. So I'm glad they delayed due to weather. That was a risky call at best. So let's see here. My book sounds interesting. Looking forward to them. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What is a TV series you would recommend? Yep, Vomit Comet. Is it true that trillions of dollars go missing from the Pentagon? They don't go missing. They're classified as to what they're spent on. So, yep, SpaceX postponed due to weather. All right, guys. It's been an hour 15. Dinner time is coming up. Look, I love you guys. I love going live with you guys. I love this. I know people hate the format. People are like, when are you going to annotate everything? Everybody... seriously. So Javier, I am so going to do this. I tell you what, Wednesday, no, today's Wednesday, Friday. So Friday, live at 5, I'm going to post a generic Netflix account that I fund, and I'll go ahead and create a new user ID, new whatever. We'll create that. I will give away the user ID and passcode to anybody who wants to get free Netflix. And yeah, what the fuck? Let's do it. Let's see what that's like. Let's see if we can't fuck some people up. That'll be fun. So Yeah, hang on a second. Listen, guys, I really enjoy this. I enjoy going live with you guys. I enjoy answering your questions. Even more, I enjoy seeing you guys be successful. So, if you enjoy what we're doing here, if there's something I can do to help, go to gordonmiller.com, book a call. If it works for you, that's great. I'm happy to help. Everything's been amazing for everybody else, and I love it. I mean, I've got no course to sell. I've got no books to sell. I've got, you're not even watching any ads. Everything's live. I'm not monetizing my channel. It's 4 a.m. in India for my friends who are in India watching. I love you guys. I know it's a hard time. We tried to play around with that for my friends in UAE and in India and things like that. Unfortunately, right now, at least most of my bookings and most of the opportunities I work on come from Canada, the US, South America, and things like that. So they're here in this hemisphere. So the people who end up booking time end up being the ones who are better served by this particular time slot. So, but look, I love you guys. Thank you so much. And God bless. Have a great night. And thank you.